Today I'm going to do our blog a little differently. We're going to talk about a lot of things on this website about how hacking your life, treating your life like a business, establishing good habits, learning how to learn, and learning how to teach. And so today's episode is about the new opportunity that's out there, which is called self-education. People usually don't think of self-education as a business, but according to Dean DeGrazio and the people who are writing these books that I interview, self-education, and I guess it's a new word for self-help, but self-education is a very big industry. And a lot of people are leaving their 9-to-5 jobs in order to pursue fields and make money in the arena of self-education, self-help, self-improvement, education in general, just plain education. You want to learn how to knit, you want to learn how to cook, you want to learn how to get healthy, you want to learn how to run or jog. And the opportunity in that is like the opportunity in anything else. Okay, so basically you get out of it what you put into it. However, there are more advantages and benefits, which are, one, you get to control your own life. You get to control your own income. And you get to avoid the rut of the 9-to-5. Now, I've been in both situations. Right now, I'm in a 9-to-5 job. I've been teaching music, which to me is, I consider myself very lucky to be a music teacher of little kids, K through 6th grade. And I consider myself to be, in terms of a 9-to-5 job, where I actually feel like I'm giving, instead of just, working a cubicle or serving some higher ups. So teaching would be something that I would recommend if you're doing a 9-to-5 job, if you can handle it, because it is very challenging, especially in the lower income communities, because Philadelphia has a lot of low income communities, Puerto Rican, white communities, black communities. And it's interesting because most of the diverse schools aren't low income. So if you can get into a school that has like white, black, Asian, Hispanic, anybody from the Middle East, then teaching in a school like that. But think about it, you're at a school, you're teaching. So what is it? It is like self-education. You don't, as a kid, you don't choose to self-educate yourself, but you're put in a situation where you have no choice. They're going to self-educate you. And trust me, it is self-education, because there are kids there that don't learn at all. And if they're not learning, then it's their fault. They're not educating themselves. It's just like I can put all the food out, a buffet for 24 kids, and some kids won't eat. They just don't feel like eating. And it's not like I didn't do my job. It's not like the school didn't do its job. It's not like, all education is self-education. That said, that's an opportunity that's there. And one of the good things about it is it does provide medical benefits. It does provide retirement. So this is where I think self-educators and entrepreneurs are not being aware of how to plan your life so that ultimately you don't have to work at all, and you can volunteer, and you financially independent, okay? And that comes with a lot of things. It's not just financially independent. It's also independent of doctors, meaning that you're physically self-sufficient because your health is taken care of. To me, that's part of being wealthy, okay? Healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? And I think that's where the trend is turning now, because people are really starting to wake up and see that. Like when I looked at the news this morning, they were doing the traffic report, and the sun's not even up, and there's some serious traffic out there. There are people who, before the sun comes up, in the millions are hitting the roads, and there's a traffic jam. And you look at this every day, like I do, because I'm up before the sun, and I travel from one state to the other. I live in Delaware, I work in Pennsylvania, and traffic is important to me because I hate getting stuck in it. And you realize that it's a hot mess. 9 to 5, it doesn't have to be like this with the technology we have. You could actually work from home. And when this coronavirus, as I make this, it is, as I'm recording this, it is March 6th, 2020. By the time this hits my website, it might be March 10th. They're really considering how we're going to do this without people going to work, because this coronavirus is serious. It's around the world. It's around the globe, and people are dying from an airborne molecule. And it's not necessarily airborne. They say it's transferred through touch. I'm, a little bit weary about the information I'm getting on this coronavirus, because the news report I was reading before I started, the news report I was listening to before I started recording this, was saying that a man in New York gave it to another man who was the cab driver. So this guy in New York was sitting in the back of a cab. The cab driver got it. The guy was told to go home and self-quarantine. He went out instead that night and socialized with his friends. I don't know if it was at a bar or some public place, but he was in a taxi. And I think the whole point of this news article was that the president was spreading information about, how it's not that bad. Okay? And the news reporter was basically saying that there is some, when a president says something that's belittling something that's so serious, it could be very dangerous. And then they kind of back that up by saying, this guy went out, his family got it, he didn't self-quarantine, and he ended up giving it to the cab driver, and the cab driver gave it to his family, and so it can't be spread by touch. I don't see how. Well, I guess if you're taking money from somebody, but it seems like if it's spread by touch, it could be airborne as well. So what are we going to do in terms of making money? Everything's going to be online pretty soon. Everything's going to be online. It's already online. I could become a teacher, an online teacher, and I know teachers who I teach with who do that. They go home and over the weekend they're teaching courses. I know a friend of mine. I know family members who do that full time. That's what they're doing. They're online school teachers. So, and this is probably what's good about online teaching, is if you're going to take the time and the effort to sit down, log in, open your computer, get on your Wi-Fi, do all the steps necessary to set that up, whether it's your parents or yourself, I have a feeling you're actually investing more than some of these kids that are getting up and walking to school because their parents will go to jail if they're caught truant. Now, I do realize there are the challenges, like parents being home with these kids and not being able to go to work. But why should they go to work when they can work from home? Okay? They don't need to go to work. Everybody can be on a laptop. I'm not saying that that's the ideal situation, but this site is about kind of looking at other alternatives than what I'm doing right now, which is driving through traffic from one city to another, so that my son could go to college thank God he's out now. So now I can really think, and he did very well, by the way. He went to college. He's got a nice job. He travels. He just got back from Jamaica. I'm so proud of that young man. I was going to say kid. But I'm so proud of that young man because he's got great character. And that was something that, fortunately, when he was born, I was really working on my character. And I think some of it rubbed off on him, even though he would say it was very boring going to meditation classes and, learning and reading or hearing other people read about character, because that's what it really was. It was an intense character development spiritual course. And anytime you get into religion or spirituality, if you get into the essence of it and not the what I would call religious part of it, it's all about character development, how to be a better person. Anyway, I digress. So, how can you make a living through self-education? Well, if you're watching this, then you're the type of person that really will benefit from this, because you have to have that mindset that you want to educate yourself. And then if you educate yourself, you can educate others. Right now, I'm going to tell you, as a teacher for 20 years, you're probably better off, and your chance of success without a degree are just as good, or if not better, by self-educating than going to college and getting a degree. Sir Ken Robinson. Ken Robinson said that according to research studies done at these big major universities, most of the people that go to college and major in something end up doing something else. Almost like 50% of them or more. And so that means that if you went to college and you have a college loan to pay back, there's a good chance that you're not going to be in that field, and the money you're generating to pay back that loan is going to come from another area than your field of study, which is interesting to me. So that means somewhere you must have got self-educated to pursue another profession, and you had to get educated in that profession. And that's why he calls it finding your element, because you think your element is to be a doctor. You go to med school like so many people have, and then you end up becoming a psychologist or a musician. And I've seen the same for musicians. You think you want to be a musician, and then you end up going to med school. I went to college with so many kids that ended up being doctors. And I'm sure a lot of med students went to school with a lot of kids that ended up being lawyers or musicians or teachers or something other than what they went to school for. So what's the point? Before I close this, and because I'm almost at my 9 to 5, the point is, self-education is something that it's the biggest growing industry, and there's a reason for it. And if you can get into that niche, and it's not even a niche, it's the biggest growing industry, it's beyond a niche. And what makes this possible is the internet. So you might want to self-educate yourself on how to build your own website. I could definitely tell you, you want to get started with a V-Card, because I've built websites, including this one, and I've built V-Card websites, which are phone-based websites. They are so easy, and they're probably a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if you are watching this. There's a good chance you're watching on your phone, although, and I'm taping this on my phone, but it would probably be best viewed on a computer screen or a pad, an iPad, just because of the way it is a real website. However, I'm going to try to duplicate this site on the V-Card, and you'll see. So you can go to any of my V-Cards. I know they're on the site somewhere. There's a link to them. I'll put one under this post, or included in this. And you can see how to develop your own website. I know so many people who are into business and and their businesses would be so much better if they had some self-education on how to build a website and how to advertise through social media. So that is really probably the place where you'll get the most bang for your buck, per se, is to learn how to use Facebook, learn how to use YouTube to advertise, because they've got it down to a science. It's pretty impressive. All right, you have a great day. Wish me luck. I'm be teaching a bunch of kids today, and it's springtime. All of a sudden, it got very warm out, and these kids are rambunctious, to say the least. But we're playing drums, and I have a lot of fun with them. We're singing songs. As soon as I leave that, I go to Penn State and coach tennis. And so that's like another drive thing. But it's exciting to me. And that's self-education. I educated myself when I became a teacher to play tennis and teach tennis. So now I'm certified to teach tennis. So I teach both music and tennis. And so anybody who's into self-education or even institutionalized education, which is self-education, you can do things other than just make money from the internet. You can teach live and in person in living color. It doesn't have to be through the internet, but it's all done through self-education. All right, have a great day. Hope to see you at my next post.